What I'm about to explain will change the way we see Astaroth, the most important devil and character in all of Black Clover. Who Astaroth actually is depends entirely on how Tabata, the creator of Black Clover, has interpreted Astaroth from Demonology. Astaroth could actually be female. If you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. Please enjoy this video. Let's go! When it comes to the Time Devil Astaroth, Demonology is very important because so far absolutely everything that has been revealed about Astaroth in Black Clover is literally a copy from Demonology. So in order to understand who Astaroth might be in Black Clover, we need to understand who Astaroth is in Demonology. And that's where the problem begins. Just as in Black Clover, Astaroth in Demonology is the devil of time and rules the underworld along with Beelzebub and Lucifero. They are called the Evil Trinity, but Astaroth is not evil. In fact, the identity of Astaroth is a great mystery, not only in Black Clover but also in Demonology and Mythology. You are probably wondering now why the hell Mythology has anything to do with the devil Astaroth. And that is exactly the point. It has been proven that Astaroth was not always a devil, that is, his origin is not in Demonology but in Greek mythology. He is the only devil who does not originate from demonology or religions, and therefore the only devil who was not always evil. And this could completely change the entire game, depending on how much Tabata decides to include this aspect into the identity of Astaroth in Black Clover. And let me tell you, that aspect is not hard to find. It's literally Wikipedia information, and everything Wikipedia says about devils is the most obvious thing, and usually the main aspect of a devil. So Tabata definitely knows and did research on this aspect when he wanted to decide Astaroth's gender in Black Clover. Just like I did, and oh man, what I'm about to tell you could change everything. It's nothing really new, I have mentioned this many times before, but I never thought about what it might mean for Astaroth in Black Clover. I always assumed that Astaroth must be male because that's how it's described in Demonology, but I never thought about the fact that Astaroth actually portrays himself quite differently. It all starts with the main attribute of Astaroth, that he's not evil, which doesn't really make any sense. Devils are evil, that's why they are devils. So why is Astaroth not evil? In Black Clover, of course it's different. The famous quote that not all devils are evil shows that pretty well. But as I said, actually that's not possible in Demonology. Devils literally represent aspects of evil. It is said that devils were originally angels who rebelled in heaven, which is why they were banished from heaven to hell, where they then turned into devils. Which in Black Clover Lucius now reverses. He turns devil souls back into angels and puts them into human bodies, fusing them with human souls. He calls this creation paladins. But here's the thing, Astaroth in Demonology claims to have been unjustly punished. However, the exact punishment to which he refers has not been specified. Some people assume that he means that God made a mistake, but God in Demonology is still God. And God in Demonology does not make mistakes. That would be blasphemy and will make Astaroth rather an aspect of evil, which he is not, he is truly good. So how can Astaroth be good but at the same time assume that his transformation into a devil was unjustified? This is only possible if Astaroth became a devil in a different way than all other devils, so not punished by God. And this is where Astaroth's true origin comes into play because he is the only devil who is not actually a devil, but was turned into a devil by humans who changed his true identity from Greek mythology for religious reasons. In reality, Astaroth is actually Astarte, the goddess of love from Greek mythology. This will then explain Liebe's name, which is the German word for love. So if Liebe and Asta are real siblings and related to Astaroth, then Asta's name is simply derived from Astaroth or Astarte, and Liebe is the true meaning of what Astaroth thinks he or she is, the goddess of love. And so we must ask ourselves, is Liebe's name a coincidence, or has Tabata hinted at the possibility that Astaroth in Black Clover is also Astarte from Greek mythology? And that's the whole point. God did not make Astaroth a devil. as is the case with all other devils. So one could interpret that Astaroth does not refer to God who made a mistake and punished him unjustly, but to humans who changed his identity from a beautiful female goddess of love into the exact opposite, a male devil. And now it makes sense why Astaroth is described as good in demonology and uses his transformation ability to turn into a woman. Why he doesn't want to be associated with the devils, and why it is often described that you can only summon Astaroth if you accept his female identity, and why he sometimes even refuses to appear unless you directly summon him as the female Astarte. The fact is that in demonology, Astaroth actually has a major identity crisis. Not only about his gender, but also about his existence as a devil. But Astaroth uses his transformation ability to transform not into an angel, but into a human-looking woman. This in turn suggests that Astaroth was not an angel who was mistakenly banished by God, but a goddess who looked like a woman. So this is what Astaroth could mean by unjustly punished. Demonology is always a matter of interpretations, which is why there are so many different versions. There is no definite story, so it's up to Tabata to interpret the meaning of Astaroth. That's what makes Black Clover so amazing. This in turn could mean that Astaroth in Black Clover might be a woman and perhaps not as much of a devil as other devils, such as Lucifero. And the strange thing about this idea is that Damnatio actually could not recognize Julius' time magic as a devil power, like he did with Asta. And Asta also couldn't see that Julius had the key of a devil, even though he could clearly sense the similarity between Zagreus and Liebe. For example, Asta could immediately tell that Lucius, after consuming Lucifero's heart, was no longer a human. But he couldn't do that with Julius, who was supposedly using devil magic all the time. Julius himself could not identify his own magic as devil magic. Even Patri falsely identified Julius as a human even though he had doubts about it. Furthermore, we know that time magic is associated with a grimoire for some as yet unknown reason. But this should not be possible. Devils do not have grimoires, and time magic is devil magic. So yes, as crazy as it may sound, perhaps we are making a fundamental mistake when it comes to Astaroth's true identity in Black Clover. The assumption that Astaroth is definitely male in Black Clover is simply not correct. It's a mystery which of course creates a bit of a problem with the Astas Father theory. Unless Licita turns out to be Astaroth herself for some reason without time magic because Lucius stole her power. But don't take this idea too seriously because I don't have an answer as to why she has the ability to seal things in this case, or the reason for her disease to absorb mana and life force, or why Lucifero didn't recognize her as Astaroth. Maybe it has something to do with Astaroth losing his time magic because of the ritual Lucius may have performed on him. Maybe it has something to do with Lucius' soul magic somehow turning Astaroth into Licita. I have no idea, and of course I see the problems with this theory. But can we really say it is impossible just because we have no explanation of how? All I'm saying is that if Astaroth is female in Black Clover, and if Astaroth is the parent of Asta and Liebe, then logically it only fits if Licita is Astaroth, because it has been confirmed that Licita is Asta's mother. In this case, the existence of a father is not even necessary since both Asta and Liebe could be virgin births. In mythology and demonology, it is speculated that the goddess Astarte was replaced by the Virgin Mary, so that the transition from Greek goddess to devil could take place. The virgin birth of Jesus is the Christian teaching that Jesus was conceived by his mother Mary, by the power of the Holy Spirit and without sexual intercourse. Since Astarte is represented in Greek mythology as the true Virgin Mary, Licita could have been represented in Black Clover as Astaroth without time magic in his female form Astarte, the goddess of love, creating Asta without a father but with the power of whatever caused the pregnancy. Perhaps Asta is the result of the absorption of life force and mana. That is, Asta is the son of life and mana itself. We talked about this idea some time ago. It will fit into the female Astaroth theory. And if Asta and Liebe are indeed siblings, this is only possible if Licita, as a reference to Astarte, is both human and devil. There are some other clues that could support this idea, such as the snake in Licita's house, which is one of the animals associated with Astaroth in demonology. Licita has short hair like the goddess Astarte, and her hair also looks a bit like the crown Astarte wears multiverse. And just as Astaroth has the problem in Demonology that people usually die when they get too close to him because of one of his attributes, Licita also has the problem that people die when they get too close to her because she absorbs their life force. If you ask me, I personally prefer the idea that Astaroth and Licita are not the same person, probably because I'm too invested in the Astas Father theory. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more Black Clover content, then subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated. I do weekly Black Clover theories and reviews. Thanks for watching and see you next time, bye!